Hello, everyone, and happy spooky season, aka Halloween, in this galaxy not so far away. Hope you're having a good one, not getting so many tricks, but many treats. I should have been drinking a pumpkin spice latte, but I am not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have. That's true. Yeah, you should have. But we hope everyone is having a good Halloween season, a good spooky season. Watching some good scary movies and eating some candy, having some apple cider, doing all of their favorite fall things. But we wanted to put together a little bit of a fun Halloween episode. And we decided if we were going to do a really fun Halloween episode, we needed to have some guests with us, Cassia.
Yeah, and today I am really excited because we don't just have one guest, we have two guests, and today we are joined by Honnid and Marcus. Woo!
Yay!
Thank you.
Hey. How y'all doing?
We are doing awesome, and we're very excited to have the both of you on. Now, to give everyone a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, Honnid sent me a message a few weeks back and said, hey, what would be a really good idea is to do this Halloween episode where we come up with some Halloween pitches in the Star Wars world. And I said, Honnid, that is brilliant. That is the best idea ever. Let's get something and put it together. And then Honnid had another great idea, and he said, well, if we're going to be making our own scary movies, we should probably get Marcus to come on the episode too. And I said, Honnid, you are a genius twice over. Can't even believe it. What a great idea. And that is exactly what we did.
Yeah. So here we are, and hopefully it's the greatest episode ever, and if it's not, it's probably because of me and Brian, not because of our awesome guests. So
yeah,
we can just blame it on the pumpkin spice, okay? We just do it on that.
Same thing, yeah.
That is fair. That is fair. But for everyone listening out there, if they're not familiar with Honnid and Marcus, should go back to the back catalog because each of these fine gentlemen have been on the podcast several times now and have covered some really amazing and some really important topics. But let's start with you, Honnid. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
My name is Ali Honnid. Honnid. Oh, man. I've been doing a lot of storytelling and stuff recently, culture things, so I just defaulted. Okay. sorry. My name is Honnid. I am a nerd. I'm a fellow nerd. I don't appreciate pumpkin spice as much as some other people on the call. I'm not trying to draw lines in the sand, but, it's kind of bland. Anyway, so I'm an artist. I draw things. I do stuff. I'm working on my own career. I don't know how much I can say about that, but I soon shall be published.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah. It's all the things. My belly does flips when I think about it. So I'll stop thinking about it for a little bit. Yeah, I'm a big old nerd. I'm in the middle of Clone-tober as we speak, and I am so weak. So many late nights, so many things, so many clones. So many old clones, and this is my third season of Clone-tober, and I might switch it up next year. But yeah, you said way too many very kind things about me, and my stomach did more flips. So thank you. It was a fun idea. I watch a lot of horror movies, and I am very happy to be joined by so many fellow movie, film, TV followers as well. And I think we're gonna have a really great podcast. And yeah, for everyone in the audience that are huge film heads, this can be a pretty fun theater of the mind, I think, because I've been stewing on my idea personally for a good while. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
But Honnid, did you know that you were getting published?
I'm
sorry. I just wanted to make your stomach do more flips, dude. I am so happy for you. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's based on one of our legends, and it's a whole thing, and one of many. So the ball is rolling.
I want a signed copy.
Oh yeah. That'll be wild. I gotta work on my signature. It's gonna be, it still looks like chicken scratch, but anyway.
That is amazing, and yeah, thank you again for this great idea, and thanks for coming on. We appreciate you joining up and sharing these good ideas with us, and we appreciate you bringing the idea of having Marcus on the podcast with us. So, Marcus, welcome back to the podcast. It's been quite a while. I think the last time we had you on was back before Celebration, and Star Wars has changed a lot in those last couple of months. But how are you doing? Welcome back.
I'm back, baby. Okay, but anyway, I'm doing great. It's great to be back on again. Celebration was amazing, and I met some of your fans out there, guys, of the Old Republic podcast. They were awesome, and
awesome.
Talked to a lot of people about lightsabers and stuff like that. Since I bought one from what's the name of the company? Oh my God, I just forgot it. I'm staring right at it. No. This one's way more expensive. Anyway, Saber Trio. That's the name of the company. There it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ooh. Loved them. And I ran into so many people that had them. Anyway, Star Wars Celebration was amazing. It was everything I dreamed of. Get to seeing all the Star Wars fans, all the cosplay, meeting up with fellow YouTubers and podcasters, and seeing trailers for stuff that's coming up, like Mandalorian Season 3, Tales of the Jedi, all that amazing stuff. And I got to see the first episode at Celebration, so it was awesome. I can't say anything about it because I don't want to spoil anything. But it was awesome. And, yeah. And, of course, I'm here just to celebrate Star Wars and do something very spooky with Star Wars. So, and, of course, for everybody else listening out there, I am hard at work on Hollow Chronicles Season 3. I am prepping the final episode right now, and it's a lot, guys. So, trust me. Be patient with me. I'm only one man.
All right. Well, our patience is wearing thin, but we are very excited about Hollow Chronicles Season 3 and can't wait for that to come out into the world for sure.
Yes.
Well, so what we thought we would do, I kind of touched on a little bit, kind of in introduction there, but we wanted to kind of go and give everyone a little bit of a Halloween special kind of thing. Now, you might think of like a Halloween special. We saw one from Lego, the Lego Star Wars, the Terrifying Tales that came out last year. It's kind of these like little like short stories broken up into the Star Wars world. You might think of, something like The Simpsons, Treehouse of Horror, or the Twilight Zone, where there are these kind of like bite-sized sort of little horror stories. And we thought that that's what we could do today. We'd kind of just go around and give our kind of Star Wars and KOTOR themed like horror or spooky stories, get everyone in the mood for Halloween a little bit. But Honnid and Marcus, do you guys have like favorite, fall or Halloween memories? Do a trick-or-treating or any favorite like scary movies that you watch every year? This time of year, got a couple that I always throw on myself, but what about you guys?
You first, Honnid. What you got?
Alrighty, sir. I kind of just go through the greats. I rewatch a lot of my favorite horror movies. I know in particular The Thing is one that really affected me whenever I was younger. I was visiting a friend, and his dad sat down, and my buddy was, sleeping, whatever. I think it was like a sleepover. I woke up early, and it was like I think it was a snowy day, so it was the perfect environment. And I sat down with my buddy's dad, and we watched. I watched the first few minutes of The Thing, and then from there, I was just hooked. And yeah, it's such a great movie. That's definitely one of my favorites. I rewatch Aliens. I try to at least once a year. I've got the whole box set on DVD, even on DVD. So that's one that I go through pretty often. And the Friday the 13th movies. They're fun. They get kind of wonky. The Freddy ones get even wonkier, but those are
Dream Warriors, baby. Well. Dream Warriors is the best.
Oh yeah. All the the video game controller and stuff, and Freddy. Wow, what a time! I mean, all right, a victory for all set designers and those makeup people. Let's lean into that. Yeah, not so much maybe the story and like how wonky Freddy becomes, but. Yeah, for sure. It's a great time, and I'm always on the lookout for spooky flicks that actually freak me out, like The Witch and Midsummer and all those A24 flicks. Yeah, they're a good time.
What about you, Marcus? Any favorite Halloween memories or things you look forward to every year once we get to this season? We've all talked about our love of pumpkin spice lattes now. So are you going Starbucks day one? Oh yeah, that was me.
No. You talked about pumpkin spice.
That was me. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of pumpkin flavored stuff. I'm not necessarily a fan of pumpkin flavored stuff or the pumpkin spice. I don't really drink coffee, so that's my thing. I was always partial to soda, but I just gave that away after so many years. Favorite memories for Halloween? Well, for me, some of my favorite memories for when I was living in Texas in my childhood, we would go around the neighborhood. Everybody would know each other. We'd all just be like, yeah, you're Michael Myers this year. Oh, you're Freddy. Oh, that's cool. And then somebody came out as Leatherface and scared the whole neighborhood. But at the same time, but imagine like a 6-year-old running up with a little yellow chainsaw going,
that's mean to little kids in Texas. Come on.
I mean, somebody's got to do it at some point.
That's true.
So the funny thing is, with Halloween, I did do a Luke Skywalker build at one time. I had the original Return of the Jedi lightsaber hilt and put some little duct tape on the end of the blade back whenever the blades actually were sticking out about 2 or 3 inches, and you have to flip it out and it comes out. I put that on my hip, and I walked around with some cloth that I taped together and just I am Luke Skywalker wearing all black. But after that, all my costumes were movie based. So I was Lieutenant Harrigan from Predator 2. Nobody knew who that was. I was Jay from Men in Black. There's a lot that I did. I think one year I went as a Ghostbuster. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But yeah, one of my most favorite memories. Me and my oldest friend Russell. Me and him were walking around the neighborhood, and the older kids, they used to run around, throw eggs at people's houses, or mess with people's candy, or there'd be a deal going down. What you got in your bag? What you got? You got Snickers or you got Twix? Oh, they give out full bars down the street. Go get it, kind of situation. So we had all that, and we heard that. It's Mrs. Parker's giving out full Snickers down the street. Go! And then everybody would run to that house, and within seconds, all of it would be gone. But I remember my friend Russell, he was Michael Myers that year, and I was Lieutenant Harrigan. So we were just walking down the street, and then these two big old dudes, high schoolers or whatever, they were just messing with them because my friend Russell really got into it. So he would just walk just like Michael Myers, just walking up to people. And they would spray silly string at him, and he just kept walking through it. And then they got it in his eye. He got really mad and then just took off his mask and then just jumped on one of them. But then I took my huge pillowcase. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't have these, bags or nothing like that, the little decorative bags. We used pillowcases, and just mine was full. So I just whipped it around my head and hit the dude that hit him, sprayed him with spray paint. It was fun.
Oh wow,
we laughed. It wasn't a major violent fight, but it was hilarious. We all just burst into laughter afterwards, and we just went off on our own thing. But what I like to do every Halloween as I got older, I like to watch horror movies from time to time. I have a set number of movies that I watch every year, but I also refresh, just okay, what else is new? What have I not seen? Drag Me to Hell is one of my number ones to go to for Halloween.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I love that one. Okay. Let's see, Autopsy of Jane Doe. That's awesome. That is a great movie. So good.
I just watched that for the first time recently. That was a good time.
Ooh, it's so good.
Yeah.
So spooky. And there are a lot of them. Oh, and I don't care what anybody says. Speaking of Jason and Freddy versus Jason, baby. One of the greatest cinematic pictures ever to be made. Okay, that was the greatest thing.
Such a great time! Oh my god!
Yes,
I love it.
One of
sorry.
One of my most favorite memories.
Yeah,
so
in the utmost. Yeah.
Oh, so here's the thing. When I went to go see that in theaters, it was the middle of the day. It's a quick story. So me and my dad was about to go to work. So he was like, all right, what do you want to go see? I can drop you off at the movie. I was like, all right, cool. I want to go see Freddy versus Jason. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah, I do. So he took me up to the theater. And this is back whenever parents, buy tickets for their kid and they can just go in. So The lady behind the counter,
Yeah.
she was an older woman. She just walked up. My dad was like, give me one for Freddy versus Jason. My stupid self decided to stand next to my dad. I should have stayed, behind him or a little bit further away. And then the woman goes, Is this for your child? Is this movie for your child? I was like, no. Yeah, it is. It's for my kid. That's exactly how she sounded. Well, he's too young. He can't watch that. You have to buy a ticket with him. I was like, all right, man. And my dad was mad. He didn't want to stay and watch the movie. So he stayed through the trailers and stuff like that for the first 10 minutes. And if y'all seen the first 10 minutes of Freddy vs. Jason, there's some stuff children should not be seeing. And then he got mad. He was just like, you better call me when this movie's over. It's like, all right, cool. Bye, Dad. And he goes to work. My mom picks me up after the movie. But I didn't care. My dad was mad because I was taking me an R-rated movie. He didn't want me to watch that. But I don't care. I got to see a great movie. So,
Yeah.
But yeah.
I also have a fun story related to Freddy v. Jason.
Go for it. Go for it.
It is shorter as well. So my actual first horror movie was, I believe, Jason X.
Oh
So
my God.
that's where I was. Yeah, I was a young baby boy, and yeah, of all the movies to watch and get scared of, it was Jason X. So that was like my first big horror movie, and then my uncle had these big, the big DVD cases with like all the hundreds of movies, whatever. It felt like hundreds because you were young. He had all the Jason movies, so we started with X because it was new, and I had no idea. I was like legitimately shaking under like the blankets and stuff, and watching and getting like super scared. And then, as a kid, growing up with like storytelling, I started to figure out the tropes, like watching Jason X, and then we watched the next one, Jason versus Goes to Manhattan. And then, I kind of just figured it out. Yeah, I started with the bad ones. Okay, I started. I started pretty bad.
Classic. Okay, that's a cult.
Jason X has some fun kills for sure. Like the ice bath situation. Oh my God, that was
space fight,
oh
man.
geez.
I mean, come on.
The space fight, truly.
And then you went back to Friday the 13th, and you said, "Where's Jason?"
So that is fun. So yeah, the commander guy that lobs onto Jason X and rides him into the atmosphere, legendary. Yes. Anyway, so Freddy versus Jason. I watched all of these movies with my cousins, and one year I decided, okay, I'm gonna get myself a machete. I'm gonna get myself a mask. I'm gonna get myself, some kind of tiny little, jumpsuit and a beat up coat. So I did. I got all the things, I put all the stuff on, and I went to the Boys and Girls Club after school. So that was where all the native kids were. That's where we would hang out. That's where we would stay until our parents were done work. And it was, it is the Boys and Girls Club. I was walking around this super horrible looking little boy with a bloody machete with blood all over my mask. And I think it was it might have even been the Jason Goes to Hell mask. And I was walking around with that on. Yeah. And I don't remember where I got it. It was probably a Walmart somewhere. And I was walking around and I'm seeing all of these. I don't remember what exactly the costumes were at the time, but they were cute. We're kids.
Yeah.
And I was walking around and I looked down the long hallway, and I see the silhouette of someone wearing long taloned fingers and a really tattered up little black hat and green and red stripes across their chest. And I walked towards that person, and they walked towards me. We faced off. We made eye contact. And that little Freddy asked me, Honnid? I was like, Cody? And it was my buddy Cody. And then I spent the rest of the night chasing him with a machete. And he was very small. I'm a bigger boy. I was bigger than 2, and he was a very small boy. So the sizes worked out perfectly. And completely separate of each other, we, pulled off the Freddy versus Jason. I won a good couple times because I was a little bit faster. Maybe that breaks the canon. But anyway, that was a good time. That was a great night.
I want photos and I want video.
Yeah. I have a very chaotic photo of me as Django back in the day too. My eyes just I'm just so happy. Anyway, sorry.
We're now a Freddy versus Jason podcast.
Yes, we are.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, indeed.
every Halloween, Freddy and Jason shall return to take over the podcast. No, that's awesome. That is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What about you, Cassia? Any like fall memories or favorite fall foods or movies you like to watch come spooky season? Or
I can't wait to just like bring the energy down to where I am because I'm more of a Christmas holiday special kind of person, and like I like scary adjacent stuff, you know. Like growing up, like trick or treating was fun. Like I dressed up as a Ninja Turtle, even though I think I like as a young, like I think I was like 3 or 4. I was like, I can't have weapons because I'm a girl, and it's like I just want to go back in time and be like, you can't have weapons. It's okay, you know.
But you can have weapons if you're a turtle.
Yeah.
And that's awesome because I dressed
true.
up as a Ninja Turtle too. Donatello, best turtle.
I was Leonardo because I like blue.
I was Michelangelo one year as an adult.
And then, were you Raphael, Honnid?
I was no turtles.
Oh, okay.
He was fun.
We were so close.
Yeah, it sounds yeah.
Yeah. Then
I
one
might
year
have
I
been
was.
Shredder. I don't know.
Yeah. That would I can see that. So that's
Yeah, with the
cool.
Jason getup. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one year I was Woody from Toy Story. This was pre-Jessie years, you know, in Toy Story 2. But I was like, hey, I like being a cowboy, so why not? And then I was also Alice from Alice in Wonderland, the cute Disney thing, you know, movie. And then one year I was Amidala, and that was fun. And then I've always liked going to haunted houses and like corn mazes, and I think it's a missed opportunity to call corn mazes mazes, like MAIZE.
Yeah. Somebody's
mazes.
probably done that, and they just don't get it.
Well, I think they should. So, you know, it might only be me getting it, but I'll be like, yeah, it's a pun. And it's
right.
clever, so
It is. It's good for the puns. It is bad for business. But yeah, maze, that'd be fun.
If
Yeah.
you want Maze with Corn, then we should get her to watch Children of the Corn. And if you want Christmas horror, we got got you. We got you. We got Black Christmas. We got Jack Frost.
We got Krampus.
No.
There you go.
Jack Frost. Oh my God.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No.
All right, Freddie and Jason, you get your one holiday. Stop taking over all the holidays for sure. But
Okay.
no, that's awesome. Yeah, I was remember trick or treating, watching those movies. I still kind of watch the same more or less couple of movies every year. I always watch Silence of the Lambs this time of year, which is one of my favorite movies, just in general. But I always watch it, kind of this. The week of Halloween, and remember those days trick or treating. Like I said, I remember Donatello the one year. I remember one year I dressed up as like a hockey player, and I was wearing my rollerblades. But I grew up in Ohio, so it was snowing, and my mom came and got me and made me change out of my rollerblades because she was afraid I was going to fall down, and I was super embarrassed. So I remember that. So thanks a lot for that, Mom. But that's okay. She was just looking out for me. But yeah, I remember you'd get all the candy, and most of the candy wasn't any good, but you'd still hoard it anyways, and you wouldn't let anyone else touch it or have any. You'd always get the favorites like the Reese Cups. I always really like the fun size Milky Way. That was always my jam. That was my favorite one. So yeah, a lot of good memories revolving around Halloween, and I just like this time of year. The weather starts to cool off, and it just starts to be a little bit more comfortable. You can get outside and do some stuff, bonfires and
Not this year,
rides,
man.
all
It's
that
hot.
good stuff. That's right. Well, you grew up in Texas, so it was always hot. So.
No, hold on. We actually did. It actually was cold for Halloween. It got really down to low 70s. Low 60s sometimes whenever it came to Halloween. It was perfect.
Yeah.
You could walk out with a leather jacket and all. It was great.
Do you know what's nice when the weather gets a little bit cooler?
What?
You go to haunted houses and corn mazes, and then you're like, oh no, I'm scared. Can someone hold my hand while I go through these? And then it's can be romantic, and yeah, and
Cassie was using the scares for romance. I like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
Yeah.
more of
I
a
love you.
scary adjacent kind of person. I don't really go out and just watch horror movies. I'm while I get some cider and hot cocoa. Not pumpkin spice lattes. We're anti pumpkin spice lattes on this podcast. And Brian, if you say you're not, we're not so secretly feuding about it.
I'll have to have a pumpkin spice latte with Atris, and we'll talk behind you guys, behind your back for sure.
But what, Cass? But wait a minute, Cassie. What if like you were sitting at home and you were like, "Oh, I want some apple hot cider." Here comes Freddie. I got some hot cider for you. And
I probably wouldn't recognize him because I haven't really seen that movie. So I would just be like, "Oh,
that
it's the
needs
guy."
to change.
It's the guy with the hat and
wouldn't that be?
And the
that would be to your benefit, really.
Hands. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of benefits, why don't we take the benefit of this little break right here and get our wits about us, because we have some important stuff to do today on the episode. So we want to each kind of go through our pitches for what we think a really good kind of KOTOR or Star Wars themed like horror movie or spooky movie, scary movie, thrilling movie might be. And we each came up with some pitches. Now, Huni, you and I each came up with 2 pitches, and Marcus and Cassie each came up with 1. Yeah. So I think what we should do is we should go ahead and get into our pitches. And why don't we start with you, Huni? Why don't you go and then I'll go? Then we'll let Cassie go, and then we can do our second round, and we'll wind this thing up with Marcus. Marcus has all that radio drama experience, so something tells me he's gonna bring the heat with his. So why don't we take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to jump into our Halloween pitches, starting with Huni. We'll be right back.
So, as discussed previously on the Old Republic podcast discussion, we talked about a little film franchise, a little type of film, the slasher. We talked about Friday the 13th. I believe Halloween was mentioned. We are in good company if this is where we want to lean genre-wise and vibe-wise. So, I would like to see a story that takes place a little bit more similar to, let's say, Tales from Vader's Castle, but through T3's little, servos and its voice box, tells a tale about a group of young Jedi Padawans that travel to a temple secluded from their masters. They're immersed in the elements. They have their teachings. They have, their knowledge. They have the Force, they have each other, and they're surrounded by these ancient things. Now it is a time of wavering, of gray areas, of, the Jedi are many, the Sith are many. And sometimes Jedi, they stray from the path, and these Padawans are left on their own, and maybe they don't follow their doctrines all to the point. So, maybe there's some things that go against the Jedi code, maybe there isn't. These are teenagers. Some of them are knights, but, they're in their 20s. It's a whole thing. Maybe the knights look over the Padawans. Maybe the Padawans are left on their own. However it goes. But they're in this Jedi temple, far off in the galaxy. Maybe the name of it has been lost to time. When suddenly, some of these young Jedi start to go missing. And when they're found mangled. They're found deceased. They're found somehow covered in rocks when the rocks were another few paces away. Was it a rock slide, or was there some kind of sick twist of fate that took their fellow from them? And as the story goes on, we begin to learn there's a killer amongst these Padawan. Something lurking in the shadows that moves in darkness, that moves with malice, that moves silently. And it begins picking off these Padawans until soon they realize that their temple has been infiltrated by a Dark Lord of the Sith, full of rage, undying, and unstoppable. Similar to Friday the 13th, films like that, this slasher seems to take more than a normal amount of damage. I'd like to see a scene where we see the Jedi corner the killer. They see his mangled face, his cracked skin, his red pulsating eye with a milky iris in the middle, his teeth grit, his blood red saber at the ready, and they begin to fight this man. And they realize he is not the best swordsman, but he is an unrelenting force. So they call upon their teachings, they call upon what their masters have given them, and they take defensive forms, and they strike with opportunity. And soon, one of their strikes lands across this assailant's wrist. It glows golden and yellow and flakes away with ashes that turn to nothing. But the limb doesn't fall. The Padawans have celebrated too soon. And suddenly, the one who landed the strike is pulled into the fist of this assailant and shoved through with a lightsaber. So, that is basically where I want to go. And as the story continues, we realize that this is Darth Sion, the undying Sith Lord, who maintains his form through pure rage, pure anger. And these Padawan, maybe they make it out, maybe they don't. I don't know. But that is as far as I developed this idea. And I really love the idea of Darth Sion as a slasher. Again, as I mentioned before, I was traveling, so I didn't have much more time to develop it out. But yeah, that is my pitch. My elevator pitch: Darth Sion plus Friday the 13th. Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like it.
That's very cool because Darth Sion is a super creepy
Oh yeah.
Antagonist when we first meet him in the game. So yeah, I could definitely see him playing kind of the slasher role, and I really like the kind of the setting, like the abandoned temple, Jedi temple, Sith temple, unknown temple, that these Padawans and maybe like some slightly older like caretakers are there, they're investigating, and then something starts happening, they can't put their finger on it, and then you just have this ultimate like ball of rage, like you said, Michael Myers kind of thing. You just can't be saying
sure.
You run him through with your lightsaber, and it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
So.
Ooh, he could be a shape in the Force. Ooh. Yes, I love it.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh, we could even do like a mirror of where Michael like impales the dude on the wall, right? You could do that with Sion.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, 100%.
He always loves
could be through the
like,
Force.
sticking people on the wall.
He loves
man,
ornaments.
Jason.
That's right. You just hang out here for a little bit. I like that a lot, and I think one of the cool things about like doing that, like a Jedi versus Sith kind of thing, is you could definitely play a lot with like the colors of the lightsabers and the dark atmosphere and stuff like that, where you're never quite able to see. So it'd be like super atmospheric in addition to being creepy. So
I also like the idea of like with the slasher kind of thing, you see a lot of characters go from like, all right, well, I'm very centered, but whenever things start to go awry, you see who they truly are under duress.
Yeah.
So that could play into like the Jedi code, how they apply that to this situation, and who breaks and who ultimately, maybe they're formed up and somebody pulls a Star-Lord and just tries to go ham on Darth Sion and just completely unravels the whole plan. It could be pretty wild, pretty good time. And I picture it being seen through the Padawan's eyes, like through the young Jedi's eyes, versus Sion, because I'd like to keep him like kind
mysterious.
We can keep his monologues maybe for the end of the flick. Maybe the master that's training these Padawans is one of the ones that really messed him up back in the day. So anyway, that's my pitch. I'm glad y'all like it, and I got very spookily dookily. More jet hands.
That's an awesome. Yeah, I like that a lot. So let us know in the comments what you thought about Huni's pitch there. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with my first pitch, I guess. This film opens up on a rain-drenched city street. It gives us a flavor of the grit and grime of our location, Nar Shaddaa. In a back alley, the camera weaves its way past rundown market stalls until we see the remnants of a crime scene. Security droids have marked off the scene, and we meet the lead investigator, a former Republic soldier, staring at the words, "Peace is a lie, there is only passion," etched into the hardened concrete wall. Transition to a landing platform. We see our former soldier waiting impatiently as the ship slowly descends. "I don't have time for this," he says to himself. Rain continuing to fall as the shuttle doors open, and out steps a young Jedi Sentinel. She confidently pulls her hood over her head to protect herself from the rain as she steps off and walks to the waiting investigator. He hurries them off to a cantina to get out of the rain and to discuss the case. Our investigator orders a drink and pulls out a datapad. His drink arrives as the young Jedi begins looking over the crime scene photos. The camera pulls back over the shoulder of the investigator as he quickly downs his drink, and the light from the datapad casts an eerie blue glow upon the face of the Jedi. She stops and looks up. "Something terrible is going on here," she says, as the camera spins into the image on the datapad of the words on the wall. "A lightsaber etched those words," she says. "I worked that out, but what do they mean?" asks the grizzled investigator. We hear her read the words as the camera slowly pulls back up to land on her face as she says, "That's the first line of the Sith Code." Hard cut to black. Title screen. The Code. And then establishing shots of Nar Shaddaa. We see hut layers, bounty hunters, refugee camps, spice deals, crime, and rain. Lots of rain. We follow the story as crime scenes reveal themselves, going through the rest of the Sith Code. And any twist that is worthy, though slightly less grisly than my movie's inspiration, 7, our Jedi Sentinel gives pursuit over the course of the film of her Sith antagonist. At the culmination of the film, she realizes that the criminal isn't a Sith, at least not yet. It's a fallen Jedi. The Sith Code has been running through her head every minute since she landed on the smuggler's moon. Will the light win out over her mental fatigue? Or will she be pushed past her breaking point? At the final crime scene, the fallen Jedi is waiting with the words etched onto the wall. The screen goes dark, we hear lightsaber ignite, and she reads the words, "The Force shall set me free." Open-ended for the audience to decide what they think her fate was.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
So that is my pitch. Yeah, based on 7, one of my favorites. It's not really a horror film, but
Oh, it's a horror film.
Oh yeah. That's a horror film.
psychological crime drama for sure. It's one of my favorites. And
I was thinking about watching that this year. I'm going to watch that this year. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I just watched that in preparation for the pod, and it is beautifully shot. And I think the way that the colors are played with, the colors on Nar Shaddaa could be so gorgeous for this, because it was a lot of greens, a lot of yellows, just like just you can like feel the grime on the screen. Yeah, I can picture it perfectly. That was great.
Fun fact about 7. Did y'all know that Denzel Washington was originally approached to be not Ben Affleck, what's his face? Brad Pitt's
Brad Pitt?
part. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
But he said it was like,
That's wild.
it's a little too dark for me right now.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, that's one of my favorites, and I thought it would be fun to play with. To be able to have a twist where, and a lot of the Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2 deal with like fallen Jedi and stuff, so you kind of get that from this young Jedi's point of view to get kind of a similar twist. But that was my pitch. Hopefully everyone liked it. It's called The Code. So let us know what you think about that one down in the comments. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be back with Cassia's pitch.
As I kind of mentioned earlier, I like scary adjacent stuff. Like, I don't go out of my way to watch horror movies, like they say in what's that one movie that I haven't seen? Is it Scream? And they say
Yes.
they talk about horror movies, and they're like horror movies, and like
Everyone's a suspect.
Yeah. But, so I like scary adjacent things, and when I was in college, my roommates, during the month of October, each of us would choose 1 week to watch a scary movie, and my choice of a scary movie was Cary Fukunaga's Jane Eyre, which is kind of more of just like, it has some scary elements, but it's not like, ooh, scary, you know? It's basically a gothic horror romance novel, and I was like, do you know what would be great? Is if KOTOR 2 is sort of like a gothic horror with a little romance, you know, and it was a novel, you know, kind of in the vein of like Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights, you know. So imagine this: Knights of the Old Republic, echoes and forces. Maybe it's not 18th century enough, but this is what we have, and we're dealing with it. So, Mitra Surik wanders the English countryside after the HMS Harbinger sinks. The Mandalorian War's wounds run deep. Kreia is a nun or a nursemaid or something, and Jack is a rogue. Beodur is something, and there, and you have to travel to all the Jedi Masters for some reason that I couldn't really think of because I was hard at work on the Bastila audio drama.
He's still alive.
And then the mystery of Darth Nihilus's mask or something. And then you find your companions and allies and enemies and delve deep into the mystery and the past. And someone would say this line in it, even though it's Shakespearean, not like Austen or Bronte or anything, but exit pursued by a Sith Lord, that would be said, you know. And Darth Sion would probably have like a crush on Mitra Surik, because it's kind of like canon to the game, but she not interested, you know. Like, who knows if she's interested in Atten or Beodur or someone else like Michael or whatever. Maybe it's Atten versus Beodur, like, I don't know. But Kreia is the major dynamic, you know, in this. And you think she's helping you, but is she really helping you? And yeah, so maybe it's a movie, maybe it's a novel, but yeah, the moral of the story is don't work hard on audio dramas so you can, like, kill it in the Halloween episode, you know.
I was just waiting for someone to go, Mr. Darcy, at some point.
Mr. Darcy. No, actually, I like imagining
cute.
what like a KOTOR 2 like gothic novel would be like, because we got like those Star Wars the Shakespeare like Star Wars things, so that would be fun to do, like other kind of like period styled things, and I think KOTOR 2 would fit into that realm really well.
For sure.
All right, well, let's take a quick break, and then we will be back with Huni's second pitch.
Terrace is bombarded. The city falls in on itself. The autocannons the Sith left behind still remain operational. They gun down any ships that make an attempt to enter or exit the system. 28 days have passed. The Teresians have risen from the ashes of their previous lives. They do what they can to help one another out, and it seems that many of the social barriers that have formed this city's hierarchy begin to erode. There are people that are more handy with a lot of things in the area and more savvy when it comes to making supplies last. There are those who squabble and whine about their place in the order of things and the families they belong to and the planets that they hold dear. But none of this really matters when it comes down to survival. The people join together hand in hand. Slowly, the rich and the poor begin to lean on each other. Sith soldiers are left behind from the bombardment. They feel the scorn and betrayal left by Darth Malak. Others believe they're playing their part in a master Sith plan from the Dark Lord. This has all been foreseen, and their lives are either forfeit or they're contributing to each step of the plan. An old man is set in his ways. He continues to blame newcomers for the native Teresians' plight. He casts down people from the lower levels he must now call neighbors. Most see him as an ornery old menace. However, some come and sit. They listen to his words. They agree and so mistrust themselves. The old man begins this hungry and shunned. Now soon, followers gather. They bring him what he needs. His belly is full and his back is reinforced. An outcast comes to the surface of T3'S for the first time. He takes a full lung of air and he walks the wreckage. He's never seen the sky in his life. The sight of it is profound. He was denied entry to the promised land. Now he thinks he's truly found it. The people let the outcast join their community. He lends a helping hand, like many of the people who once served the higher class. He's resourceful, he's helpful. He knows how to make the supplies they have on hand last much longer than they really thought. They're substitutes that he brings, ideas that he offers. It seems this man is just what the surface dwellers needed. He's kind, he helps where he can, and is generous with his knowledge. It seems the stories the surface dwellers have been told were all fabrications, all lies. This man wouldn't harm any one of us. An old man does not trust him. He stirs his people to distrust the newcomer as well. One follower and the old man go to investigate the area the outcast came from. What they find is a door welded shut and a rhythmic banging from the other side. They call to the being on the other side and begin panicking, trying to figure out how to release them. It's clear they don't speak basic. It's only responding with guttural noises and more rhythmic banging. Clearly, the outcast is a liar and abandoned his people. Perhaps this person he's left behind was sick. Truly, the outcast was a coward. The old man's people managed to pry the door open slightly, and one looks into the hole. A claw scratches a worker, and they back away. In the hole, they see a monstrosity of dead skin, teeth, nails, and fury. A Sith trooper fires into the hole. They hear an audible thud. They flee the scene with their injured friend. There's a zoom shot toward the hole, then scraping. Suddenly, the Rakghoul rises to the hole, thrusting its head and arm through, scraping metal with its claws. A golden, glowing blaster shot, having gone clean through its gray chest. The worker begins to show symptoms. Little do they know that change has begun. They hoist their friend to the rest of the community. The change is much slower in this version. It comes in stages. It's not like super flashy like in the game. The posse bring their friend in for medical treatment and demand the outcast answer to what happened to the worker. Who are the people that he left behind? What diseases did they carry? What exactly was that creature? They bring the man out into the light in front of everyone. They scuffle, but bring him to his knees and bring the accusation to the rest of the hall. The infected worker is strapped to a table. He's treated by medical droids and the only medical professional left on hand after the bombing. The worker's skin has turned a gray-white pallor. The doctor attempts to sedate the man. It's clear he's in a lot of pain. He's writhing on the table, and there's these long shudders that his body gives out. But as he attempts to put that needle into this man's vein, it breaks. There is a new bone forming under the man's skin. With the lightest of pressure, the skin is punctured by what appears to be a horn or some jutting bone. In retaliation, the man bites the doctor. He grimaces, revealing teeth that have come away with one bite, leaving behind enlarged canines and misarranged, jagged teeth. The community continues to argue about the virtuousness of this man they're accusing. The arguing continues, but soon he confesses with a whisper, "We all need to run." The man on the table goes through rapid, painful change. His screams become a call, some mixture of beast and battle cry. Bone cracks, skin shifts, flesh becomes sickly and writhing. The worker transforms on the sterile medical table, surrounded by confused droids. One attempts to sedate him. It swings at the droid. Its transformation is complete. With the impact, it peels away flesh from his ragged hand, revealing the radius and ulna have extended into some imitation of claws. The doctor screams in fear. His irises change. They become black and formless, and this scream becomes a howl. The creature accompanies his howl in unison. The wind carries this call. A scraping, ravenous raccool responds. The echo of its call bounces through the Undercity's many pipes. Soon, dozens of howls join in response. Many bodies join this one lone raccool with the bullet in its chest, and the weld marks begin to give way. The raccools are released to the surface of T3'S, and the remaining T3'sians must come together like they never have to survive. Thoughts?
I like it. I like it. I like the creature transformation. It's so it's so good and
solid.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would watch that.
Yeah.
This.
Oh yeah, same. I mean, clearly. Yeah.
So that's a little bit of 28 days later. That's a little bit of the thing, right? So.
Yep. And I imagine the tactics for fighting the raccools would be kind of similar to Aliens. I could perfectly picture a scene where they all like have to weld the doors shut, and they're on like maybe a higher level, and they have like a live feed to some like security droids or autocannons or something, and you get kind of like that Alien scene where like the ammo is quickly depleted, and then they're just like, okay, well they've got some bullets left, but it seems they've rerouted. And I'm kind of ignoring a little bit of the KOTOR canon here. Sorry, KOTOR fans. But I think it would be fun if in the end we do have like that prime raccool that is like, you know, more sentient and starts to lead them and picks up a gun or something. That would be like a huge bombastic, like, oh my God, they've evolved.
Oh, yeah.
And
now you're going to George A. Romero territory.
Yeah, a little bit. And I like to picture that, like, I don't know, I read World War Z, like, religiously, and I really, really love that story, and I love how it's really about how humanity deals with pandemics, deals with, like, things like this. And yeah, I really wanted that to be part of this story as well, because it's such a juicy planet and so much lore around T3'S that it could be a really fun story whenever it comes to, like, the old man being set in his ways, and I really picture that being the one that's always the crier on the surface that we encounter in KOTOR. So yeah, there's that. Oh, also, so scratches take longer to turn, but like a full bite from a raccool, I picture being like near instant. But we go by like infected to zombie rules, where it's like infected are still human, but they like run around and do whatever, and then like zombies are the full raccools that take a little bit longer to cook, but they're still that's the full form. That's the freaky form. And yeah,
like my mind went to Dawn of the
nice.
Dead whenever you said scratch,
Ooh.
and it takes longer, like the Zack Snyder version.
Oh, solid.
I haven't seen that yet.
You need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a visual feast. Lots of colors, lots of wild stuff happening. But yeah, so let's just say that KOTOR. I mentioned it on our previous podcasts. The ragdolls really stuck with me when I was a kid. Whenever I played that game, because I thought they were so scary. And then I would like go back like a couple years later and like, oh, they're not even that scary. But like the way I pictured them in my head, the way I had like dreams about them, and then like the comic Vector, I think it's Vector, Star Wars Vector, heavily features ragdolls, and the way they're portrayed in that is like, it's super freaky. It's very, very good. Highly recommend.
Very cool.
Highly recommend.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 28 Days Later, also one of my favorite kind of Halloween time go-tos. One of my absolute favorites, and so we kind of had shared, just kind of like the brief kind of what this was going to be. So I was really interested to see what you did. But yeah, that sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty spooky and pretty creepy.
Thank you.
You'd mentioned Dawn of the Dead. I was the way you were describing like the raccoons like moving around, like I don't know, for whatever reason, like my mind went to like seeing like the velociraptors in Jurassic Park, like as they're like like figuring out how to like open the doors and stuff like that.
Morse code and all that.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could picture them calling to each other, and we could even make that a part of their evolution, like they're learning through communication with calls. Anyway, super nerdy. Anyway.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So that is Huni's take on 28 Days Later and the thing, featuring everyone's favorite creepy citizens of T3'S, the ragdolls. So let us know what you thought about that one. We're going to take a quick break. We will be back with my second pitch, and then we'll be turning it over to Marcus after that. So stay tuned. After the events of Knights of the Old Republic, the Ebonhawk crew was due a much-needed vacation. Revan and Bastila had whisked away for some time alone. Jolee and Juhani were headed back to Dantooine to see how they fit into the Jedi in this new world. Canderous and HK were off to find the Mandalorians, to make amends, and probably start another war. And Karth was reunited with his son, Dustil, to catch up and be a family again. That left Mission and Big Z making their way back to Kashyyyk for some R&R. Karth protested when Mission asked to take the Ebonhawk, but Revan said, "Karth, relax. Let her take it. She's earned it. Plus, we didn't exactly ask when we took it either." To which Karth replied, "Fair enough. We both know she'd just take it anyways. Just make sure you listen to T3. That little droid's the only one that knows how that thing works anyways." Once on board, the exhaustion from the battles and the boredom of spaceflight take over, and Mission and Big Z head off to catch some shut-eye, leaving T3 all alone to pilot the ship. Things are going fine until there's a scratching noise coming from the engine room. With the defeated sound, T3 wheels his way to go investigate. But as the engine room door slides open, the lights go out. The emergency lights kick back on just in time to see a shadowy figure cross the hall behind T3. An inquisitive beep comes from the little droid as he angles his head into the engine room, but there's nothing there. And an annoyed beep comes as he wheels his way back towards the cockpit. On the way, though, the Ebonhawk shudders to a stop. Upon investigation, the hyperdrive lever has been switched to the off position. The abrupt stop wakes Mission and Big Z, who groggily arrive to ask T3 what the holdup is. More scratching, more shadows, more spooky mischief ensues. The scratching gets louder and louder, in the walls, in every cabinet and storage container, through the bedrooms, into the cockpit, until it stops as the crew makes their way to the cargo hold. T3 unlocks the door, and as the brave little droid slowly slices into the door lock, the scratching returns and intensifies. The door slowly creeps up, and we see the spooky menace. A lone Gizka standing defiantly atop a crate of food, proud of itself for the mayhem it's caused. I thought we got rid of those, groans Big Z. I don't know, it's kinda cute, says Mission, as the Gizka hops down and joins the crew for the remainder of the trip to Kashyyyk. So that is kind of an homage to those old school Halloween cartoon tales. Yeah, you had the Charlie Brown, you had the Garfield, but yeah, a rogue Gizka, and that's of course based loosely on Alien, which is another great one of my other favorites. Absolutely perfect movie, and Gizka is the absolute perfect nemesis, I think, for the crew here.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, I want Gizkas to be real, just for once.
Yeah, I bet their meat is juicy.
I want a Gizka taco at Galaxy's Edge.
Gizka thigh. Ooh, yes, that'd be perfect.
Give me a Gizka wrap. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Or a shoulder Gizka. We don't have to eat them.
I'm sorry. I will eat a Gizka first.
Oh, okay.
Marcus will eat your shoulder Gizka.
I'll do a turducken kind of situation, man. With the
Yeah.
Gizduckin? That's what it calls.
That's right. Especially if it's going to knock your ship out of hyperdrive, it is definitely worth eating. So
Yep.
that is my second pitch. That is a little bit more, like I said, lighthearted and kind of those more like kid-friendly Halloween cartoons that we all loved growing up. So thanks for listening to that one. We're going to take one more break, and then we will be back with Marcus to wrap it up.
So, I'm going to apologize, first off, because this is going to get a little dark and a little violent, and Cass is going to be a little angry with me in a second. I'm just going to say that now. So, this story is told in the first person, like the film Maniac. If you've never seen it, check it out. It's a serial killer movie from first person view of the serial killer. So, that being said, we open on the surface of Manon. It's nighttime, with its bright moon lighting the station as it reflects off the water in an almost crystal-like glimmer and shine. It's peaceful. In the first-person perspective of the character we'll call him Fleet for now. Fleet walks up to Mission, standing at the edge of the railing, admiring the night with Zalbar standing next to her. Fleet greets them both as they share a glance of both recognition of the beautiful night. Suddenly, klaxon alarms start blaring, and you see both Trask Olgo and a few Selkath race to the Sith portion of the station, and a crowd is formed around two bodies. Fleet cuts through the crowd and sees the bodies of Canderous and Revan. Fleet is shocked at the sight of his companions dead, and Zalbar comforts Mission. Accusations and panic befall the station, and an announcement from the Council of Manon is heard. All personnel and guests are ordered to return to their quarters while the murder investigation is underway. As the people begin to head back to their rooms, Fleet quickly radios the rest of his team. Bastila or even Jolie aren't even answering. They're not answering their comms. Fleet, Zalbar, and Mission make a beeline to the Ebon Hawk, but are stopped by spaceport security. Fleet profusely asks to get back to the ship, but they are forbidden to leave the planet during a murder investigation. Mission says that's fair. Then a familiar scream is heard from behind the door that leads to the spaceport corridors. The sound of an older man. Security opens a door, and crawling towards them, covered in his own blood, and clutching his open neck wound, is Jolie Bindo. Mission rushes to him and is distraught as she tries to give him a medpack, but it's too late. Fleet kneels down to Jolie with Zalbar standing guard with his bowcaster drawn. With Jolie's dying words, through him choking on his own blood, he says, Ship, Bastila, fight. Jolie lies still. Zalbar roars in just agony. and Mission lets the tears flow. The spaceport security raises the alarm once again. Fleet declares for all of them to get to the Ebon Hawk and find Bastila and help her fight whomever is doing this. They all rush to the doors, and as they approach, they can hear the clashing of a lightsaber in the distance. A battle cry is heard, and the doors open as they all stand with blasters drawn. They see Bastila and realize it wasn't a battle cry, but a death rattle. Bastila stumbles to her knees and looks up at her companions as she draws her own saber out of her impaled body. Zalbar and Mission are the first to get to her, as Fleet looks to see if anyone is behind them or exited the other landing pod to their side. Fleet turns back to Bastila and takes 2 steps forward, and then trips on the scattered pieces of a copper-toned droid. All the pieces on the ground seem to be ripped and cut to pieces from burns similar to a torch or a lightsaber. Fleet realizes it was HK-47 at his feet, or what was left of him. Fleet then hears Zalbar roar again, but as he looks up, they're not by Bastila. The roar was coming from the ship. Fleet rushes to Bastila and tries to talk to her, but she can only say, "Stop her." She then succumbs to her wound. Mission screams, "Help me!" in the most bone-chilling tone that would make any mother rush to their child's side. Fleet lays down Bastila's head gently and then rushes up the ramp. After entering the ship, Fleet sees the trail of red leading to the main room, and he follows it as the fear begins to swell in him. He enters the main room, and on the holotable is the severed head of Zalbar. A crash of equipment is heard near the back room of the ship, and Fleet briskly walks to the sound. As he approaches the door to the crew quarter in the back of the ship, a high-pitched sound of excitement is heard from behind him, and he turns and fires a quick kill shot, and it strikes T3M4. T3 screams in pain, and Fleet is so sorry. Smoke, sparks, and small flames emit from T3M4 as it begins to power down. Fleet says he's sorry, and says it was an accident. He didn't know. He asks T3, "Who has been killing the crew?" But it is too late, as T3 powers down and falls apart. Then, a small hand grasps the ankle of Fleet. It's Mission, as she has suffered severe cuts to her face and gut as her purple blood begins to flow heavily from her wounds onto the metal floor of the ship. Mission says in her last breath before expiring, "It's her. She's gone feral. Kill her before." Fleet is now distraught, as his entire crew is dead. The ship engines rev up, and the Ebon Hawk takes off for orbit. Fleet, with all the rage and pain in his heart, marches to the cockpit. He feels the ship enter hyperspace as he passes the main room where Zalbar's remains sit. The ship exits hyperspace and lands on Korriban. Fleet rushes the cockpit but sees no one at the helm. Autopilot? He asked himself. Then, a purring noise is heard from behind him, and with both blasters drawn, he turns to see no one there. "So you're the last one, are you? Fitting. You were always the one to fight for your crew, down to the last man." "Where are you?" he asked. "Home." Her words echo through the ship, and then footsteps on metal can be heard rushing toward the ramp of the ship. Fleet rushes to the ramp and sees nothing. A saber ignites from behind Fleet, and then he feels the sharp, burning pain as small plumes of smoke snake up to his view of the bottom of the ramp. The crimson blade of a lightsaber is retracted back inside of him and out of his back. A kick to his back is felt as he tumbles down the ramp of the Ebon Hawk to the dry gravel surface of Korriban. Coughing and gasping for air, he turns over to hear the footsteps of metal on the ramp. And then the figure appears out of thin air. It is Juhani, dressed in the dark and gray robes of the Sith, with her yellow eyes meeting and piercing into Fleet's as she walks to him. She raises her right hand, and with a flick, she brandishes her almost 4-inch KOTOR claws and says, "Long live the Sith." She then thrusts her claws into Fleet's face. Fleet wakes up in a scream and covered in his own sweat. He sits up as the fire from the campsite illuminates his face under the night sky of Dantooine. The entire crew of the Ebon Hawk all look at him, worry on their faces. Bastila comforts him and then tells him he was having a nightmare. Fleet then calms himself, and Mission asks, "What were you dreaming about?" Karth replies, "I don't want to talk about it." Cut to black, and that is called Nightmares of the Old Republic. And that is my story.
Wow.
Dang, that's called Nightmares of Brian's going to have after that one. So
Yeah. T3 can never die.
See, I told you she'd be mad.
yeah.
He's immortal.
T3 is fine, as it turns out. No, that was good. That was very dark, as you foretold us, Marcus. But that's good. I think that's fine for.
That's fine to tell children. Go ahead. Just a bedtime story,
That's right. Just a little tale that you tell. That's interesting. It's a good twist, with Juhani there, turn into the dark side, because that's kind of something that you're always probably a little bit concerned about if you're the crew of the Ebon Hawk, I suppose. So,
I wanted a murder mystery at that time, and I was like, okay. At first, it was just going to be 3 characters, but I was like, how can I put everybody in here? Oh, this is how I can do it. So, all that in 1 hour.
Wow.
Of just thinking.
Way to go.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. That was definitely ended on a much spookier note there, for sure. And I like that Andy got a "don't want to talk about it" from Karth in there too, so that is always good for the storytelling. So
I wonder. So here's a quick thing. Anybody know why I chose the name Fleet?
Because it's his nickname?
That's what I'm talking about. True fans
Solid.
right there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't know that, you're not a true KOTOR fan. No, just kidding. We
All right,
don't
I'm gonna head out.
gatekeep.
Actually, all right. Gotta go.
Unless you're drinking pumpkin spice, then you know.
True. Pumpkin spice holds all the answers.
Yeah.
that's right. Well, I mean, you knew that the nickname was Fleet, but you also killed T3, so it's kind of
Hey, I didn't kill him. He just fell apart.
they cancel each other out, I think, for sure.
The bullet sailed through T3. It hit like some kind of warp storm situation, went through hyperspace, and I think I heard it hit Max Rebo, but
No.
he's been shot before.
Now, see, now I didn't go that far.
Oh my
I
gosh.
didn't go that far.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and kick Honnid off of the call.
Yeah, that's fair. Alrighty, it's been
We're
great.
gonna. We're good. Hey, that's okay. Honnid is just a little loopy. He doesn't know what he says because he is in the throes of Clone-tober for sure. So
Truly.
yeah. So Marcus, that was an excellent pitch, and Honnid, both of your pitches were also excellent. Cassia, you and I have some work to do if we want to catch up with Marcus and Honnid on these Halloween stories, I think. But that's okay. That's why we bring guests like these on to tell us some awesome tales, and tell us about what you got going on. Like I mentioned, Honnid, you got Clone-tober is going on right now. We're getting close to the end of the month, so hopefully you are still with us. Hopefully you've not, drank yourself silly on too much coffees. But why don't you tell everyone a little bit about Clone-tober? If they've not been following along, they need to catch up because they've only got a couple days left.
Yeah, so the last few days we've got some pretty solid prompts coming up. We've got the clone veteran from Dayu from the Kenobi series. We've got the Purge Trooper Phase 2 from the Kenobi series. The Terror Trooper, that's another deep little lore bit for folks. And we end it with the Black Wing Project Subject Zero. So fans of some of the darker aspects of Star Wars reading will remember a little book called Death Troopers, and a certain type of virus that travels through the Star Wars characters that we love and some that we meet and say goodbye to pretty quickly. So yeah, it is so much every year. It started as kind of an alternative to Inktober because of some controversy with what's his name, Jake Parker, the one that created the Inktober challenge, and I followed each one of those throughout the years. Back in college, I think I started, and I tried to. The concept is you try and work on a piece of art and have it up for each day of October. So it's a personal challenge.
Okay.
It's kind of morphed into its own bunch of its own branching ideas and concepts and different fandoms and stuff. So it's really fun. I think I've done a few of them, like sporadically, different prompt lists. I mean, like hopped between the few that I see, and yeah, it's a good time. And Clonetober has been a blast, but I do think this might be our last year doing it. I tried to follow a narrative with the clones. So the first Clonetober was the Clone Wars. The second Clonetober was leading into Order 66 and the Dark Times. And this is post Order 66. So this is going to be all either old clones or like clones that survived 66 and are trying to make their way in the universe. A universe that's changed, a universe that has no real use for them other than continued servitude. So it's up to the artists themselves if they want to go by the canon story. This is the first year I'm fully open to like AU stuff, like alternate universe stuff, where like say we have like a character like Jesse or Fives or whoever we see die in the Clone Wars, but in this art challenge, how do you see that character surviving if they survived? So it's a fun time, it's a good time, and I've got a lot of really passionate folks on Instagram that post with me every year and kind of go through the pain, the trials, the tribulations, the joy, the gleeful uploads every time whenever you see somebody else upload a new thing and you're like, oh yes, we're in it together. Like it is so fun, it's so great, it's so draining. I have an espresso machine. And whenever October is through and done, I will be able to sleep properly again. So yeah, it's been a blast, and a little sneak peek to listeners of the Old Republic podcast. Next year we will be doing Imptember, so September Imperial Art Challenge versus October, because it's kind of become pretty big for everyone posting their stuff in October, and I think it's about time to move to a new month, and it seems like a lot of the art community is doing that as well. So yeah, get your pens and your sketchbooks ready for next year if you want to join next year. And yeah, I really hope y'all have enjoyed, those who have been following and been enjoying themselves or creating themselves. Yeah, and I hope you're well rested at the end of this. Whew, boy. Yeah.
I tell you who's well rested. T3, that's for sure.
That is true.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And he's stretching because these pieces are all over the floor there. Yeah.
No, that's HK. He's
that's true.
That is.
Yeah.
Too far.
That hits too close to home. Too far. That's right. Well, Honnid, you've only got a couple days until November 1st, and then you can hibernate, and we'll check in on you in the spring, I guess, after you've caught up on some rest. That'll be good.
Yeah.
But definitely make sure you follow along with Clonetober. You can, I'm assuming you can see all of Honnid's art at least on your Instagram, Honnid. You'll be posting that stuff every day, I assume.
Yep. On Instagram, I'm trying to post a little bit more to like other platforms like Twitter, because Instagram and its malevolent algorithm has a way with their users that's not the most polite sometimes. So I'm shifting to Twitter, to ArtStation, to other platforms. But that's where I'm the most active, is Instagram.
Awesome.
Okay, yeah, and that is at Honnid, Honnid. So make sure you're following that. Follow along for Clonesoberfest, and keep an eye on all of the books and all the other projects that Honnid has in the works. So keep an eye on that. We're going to definitely keep an eye on it, and we'll let you know as we get any information about that stuff coming out, because we want to make sure that we point people in the direction of Honnid there. And Marcus, you broke all of our hearts. You got us. I was in the mood to have like a little snack-sized Milky Way, but now I'm in the mood to have like 100 snack-sized Milky Ways and eat away the pain that you caused with your story. But why don't you tell people where they can find you? What do you have going on? Is the Mosley Reviews going to be doing some Halloween movies? Maybe there's a lot of spooky stuff coming out to the theaters, and Hollow Chronicles. Tell people where they can reach out to you and find more information about that stuff, and listen to your stuff and read your stuff, all that stuff.
Well, once again, I am so sorry, but at the same time, it's an artistic expression, so guess what? Horror's not for everybody. It's going to break your heart. So,
heartbroken.
Exactly. Yep. Like you said, I have Hollow Chronicles Season 3. I'm prepping it to getting ready to record. Fun fact, I might as well tell everybody here, that's right here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to announce it right here. Cassia, Brian, and Honnid are going to be in the show. I won't tell you where.
What?
Yes, they're going to be on it. It'll be a surprise of where you can find them. They're scattered throughout the show, but you will hear them. So it won't just be me doing all the voices this time. I have specific areas where I need other people's voices. So, yeah. Also, I'm a part of the KOTOR adaptation from Unreal Cinema. So our trailer's out there right now. Go see it if you haven't watched it. Just type in KOTOR trailer from Unreal Cinema, and you will find it. It's amazing, and I can't wait for you guys to see the first episode. I'm Trask Olgo, ensign with the Republic Fleet. Definitely check it out. It's going to be amazing. I don't have a release date. You're going to have to ask Unreal himself. Pepper him. He's on Discord. Just go. Tell him, it's like, I want the show. Also, there was a lot of alien love that was given in this episode, so I'm very happy about that. So, also, I do have a podcast that I did a long time ago. It was a mini-series, about 5 episodes, I believe, called The Last Survivor of Hadley's Hope. So, if you're an Alien fan or Aliens, this tells the story of a engineer that worked on the station of called Hadley's Hope on LV-426. You get to experience his perspective of when the aliens actually took over the station, when the xenomorphs start taking everyone. It's creepy, it's scary, and I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments on this episode, or just message me on Instagram at the Marcus Mosley on Instagram, Twitter. The Mosley Review, you can find me there for my film reviews and TV reviews now. Review a lot of Marvel and whatever TV shows I'm watching. That's basically where you can find me. And if you're looking for a voice actor, I'm here. Just reach out to me. I will message you.
Also, what else did you do, Marcus?
I did something even more special that's even more Star Wars related. So, Cassia, we got together and we are co-writers on Cassia's idea for the Bastila, or short, that she's doing a radio drama on. And I am a voice in the show. And Cassia, do you want to do the honors of telling him who I am, or do you want to leave that as a secret?
Let's just say you are the narrator for part 1 of this Bastila-themed triptych. And you were born to be a narrator. We just kind of heard you narrate, even though it was a horrifying tale where everyone I loved died. But I was like, dang, his voice is just so good. He's so good at narrating. So, yeah, you're going to be the narrator and a few other voices throughout the ride, and also maybe even Spaceship Earth. So, yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so...
Marcus currently is going to be narrating my nightmare that I'm going to have tonight, so thanks a lot for that, Marcus. But no,
Nightmares of the Republic.
definitely make sure you check out Marcus and Honnid on Instagram and online. Find them on Twitter or wherever your platform of choice is. But make sure to follow along because they have a lot of really cool stuff coming out, and want to thank both of you guys for coming on. We appreciate it. We always have a great time when you're both on, and I think that you two are our most frequently repeated guest stars. So, always love
Proud to
having
be
you guys
here.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, do we get like jackets? Do we get the
Oh, do we get a
Five
leather
Times
jacket?
Club, like,
I want a
SNL?
leather
Yeah.
jacket.
We don't
I
have
love it.
jackets, but we will send you something. So
We don't have
Very
jackets.
solid.
Go buy yourself a jacket, and we'll just we'll say that that's the jacket.
Solid.
yeah.
So, of course, as you guys always end the episode, but I want to end the episode with something a little creepy that I wrote just as we were listening to stories. So, if y'all want to hear it, you can.
Yes,
We can
indeed.
end on it.
That's
Lay it on us.
right. Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining us. Make sure you rate and review the podcast 5 stars, please. That would be awesome. Follow us on YouTube and keep an eye on all that stuff. We'll get you more information about the audio drama that Cassia and Marcus are working on, and just keep an eye on it. We've got a lot of really fun stuff coming up through the end of the year. So with that in mind, happy Halloween. Marcus, take it away.
I can see into your future. I see candy, but most of all, fear. And something spooky. Happy Halloween. Look out behind you!
Ah!